All right, welcome back. Super Sports Saturday continues. We've got swimming and diving, but more diving than that. Craig, I want you to talk about this a little bit. We've got Michael Aasness and also Mike Hartwell, the head coach of the diving team, and a crazy week for him and a record setter as well.
Yeah, last week at the Otter Invitational, Michael Aasness established a new scoring record for the Otters, 288.30 points, taking down a record that has stood since 1981. Michael, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
I want to know when you started putting your sights on that record, because they're there for you to see every day. When did you realize, you know what, that's within my grasp?
Probably last year or the beginning of this year when I got some really hard dives. When I went to camp at the U of M and then MSUM, and then I got some pretty hard new dives, and then for DD, and then I realized that I had a really good chance of taking it down.
Okay, DD now, that's one of the terms of the sport. You'll have to explain that degree of difficulty to us.
Degree of difficulty, or DD, is the degree of difficulty of the dive. Each different dive has a different degree of difficulty.
Okay, that was a good explanation.
And they take their score and it's multiplied somehow. There's a formula, and that comes to their points. I watched some Olympic diving and it kind of figured all that out as it went. But yeah, the more complex the dive, the higher the degree of difficulty, and the more points you can score.
Are there some dives that you will look at and say, I don't want to try that one?
Yeah, but I kind of want to go for some pretty hard dives, but yeah.
Well, the degree of difficulty goes up, but there's also a chance you don't score as many points. So it's a tough decision. Who makes that decision on what dives to actually try to or attempt in a competition?
It's kind of up to me, but Coach pressures me to go for the hard ones, and then it's really up to me whether I do it or not, or execute.
Did Coach ever come up to you and say, Mike, I don't think this is the right time to do that triple flip, twist, and backwards somersault?
Yeah, last year I wanted to try like some inward twos or 2.5s, and then Coach said I'm not ready for it yet.
Okay, all right.
Well, when did you first start thinking of diving competitively and getting involved in this sport? Because you had a great year, a sophomore, going to state with your first real big year of varsity competition. When did it hit you to get into this sport?
Probably sophomore year. When I got my full 11 dive list, realized that I was pretty good at this and I could go far.
When did you feel Saturday that you were on task to break that record? Was that one of your better days on the board right away?
Yeah, that was probably my best meet I've ever had, besides sections last year, but overall in the 6 dives. But I didn't really think I was going to get it till afterwards. I thought I was like about 10 points below, but I realized that I got it, and I was pretty pumped.
Do you watch that progression as the points continue to rack up and your dives, you have less and less dives? Do you watch that progression, or you just kind of let it all happen?
I kind of just let it flow, and then see what happens in the outcome. Counting the points, I don't know, sometimes it can jinx it, but I just let it flow.
You leave that to Coach Hartwell.
Yeah,
let him worry about it.
Give him all the gray hair.
I like that, yeah.
How about the judges? Obviously, the judges are different from meet to meet depending where you're at. Does it help when you have judges who have seen you before, are familiar with you, or can that sometimes be a detriment?
Kind of like coaches that have seen me before, so they know what I can do, what I can't do, and what I'm capable of. But
if I'm a judge and I've seen you dive before and I've seen you hit a dive better than you just hit it, I might not score it as high as some of the other guys who haven't seen you, right?
Yeah.
So that can be interesting, too, because they expect more of you, maybe because they have seen you in competition. Well, it's a great accomplishment to score that many points and take that record down. Have you ever had an opportunity to meet Mike Schulenberg, whose record you broke?
I have not, and then I haven't. But Coach Uvis said that he was going to make a call to him because he's a pilot now or something like
Really?
that.
Okay.
Said, I'm going to call him up and tell him that you broke his record.
All right.
So in 30 years, when someone else comes along and takes your name down, are you going to be here to congratulate them?
Probably not, but see what happens.
All right.
How exciting is it for you to see the growth of the diving program in the last few years? Because I think when you came onto the scene, it was in a need of repair or building, and now all of a sudden you guys are going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4 in varsity competition. That's going to be pretty nice to see as a senior.
Yeah. Up until probably 3 years ago, we didn't really have much of a diving team. It was just people were doing it for fun, but then a couple years ago we got pretty serious about it. And then it was me going to state, and then this next year Kyle Rust and me going to having 2 divers going to state. And then this year.
Is it nice to have those other divers that are your peers to help you with certain things and not be alone in your training, or do you consult with them a lot and talk to them about diving?
It's nice to have them because the points all rack up for the team.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have other people just besides you on the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, this team is going to rely on you to score a lot of points. You've got a young team and a team that doesn't have maybe the depth that other Otter teams have had in the swimming, so the diving is going to be a big part of that. You kind of like knowing that every time you guys compete, you're a very important part of that scoring process.
Yeah, it's kind of what sets us apart from other schools,
Mm-hmm.
the diving team, because it's a really big thing. And those extra points help.
Tell us about your typical practice day. When do you hit the water? Obviously, the swimmers are swimming. You can't always dive when their practice is going on. So what's your day like, Michael?
Well, Coach Hartwell doesn't really get here till about 6 because he works in Alexandria. And then we start our practice then when we actually get on the board. But we get there about like 5:30, and then we do a workout with a lot of abs and training, and then we stretch a lot. And then about 6 we get on the board. Start working on dives or the list that we're doing for the next day.
How much dryland training do you have to do? I mean, do you get in there on a trampoline somehow, or in a foam pit to try to do some of that those dives?
We actually don't have a trampoline or a foam pit, but once in a while, this year we might go to DL like we did a couple of years ago and go train with them because they have a facility there with trampolines and a foam pit there.
Okay. Well, I told Tom Uvis, I said, I got a tramp in my backyard. You guys come on over.
Might not be too fun today, but
no.
Yeah. Well, this Otter team again is going to be a team that has to grow as the season goes on. But the divers will be fun to watch, and people I think are kind of learning that. And you're going to have, I think, a lot of people in the past maybe have taken that diving break to go out to the concession stand. That's not going to happen this year. Yeah. How do you like performing in front of a big crowd?
It's nice having people to watch and appreciate the sport and staying to watch because most of the time, like you said, they'd go out and go get a snack or something and come back. But it's good having people watch.
Who's your main competition when you look at the section? Are there some pretty stiff divers out there who are going to give you a run for a state tournament berth?
I'm not sure. Haven't really seen any people, but last year I know it was really packed. There were some seniors. There was probably out of the 6 there was like all seniors. 6 out of the 8 were all seniors.
Okay.
And then I had some pretty tough competition there, but I came through.
Do you get a lot of support from the swimmers on the team? Do they maybe hang around a little bit or come early and watch you dive and cheer you on and support off of the board too? Do you kind of get along with them at all, because you're part of the team just like they are?
Yeah, they support us and stuff, but like a couple of years, or not a couple of years ago, but we were all kind of separated, but then we kind of, as diving became a big part of it, we all kind of came together and started supporting each other a lot more.
It's nice to see.
Yeah.
After your experience at state 2 years ago and then not being able to get through that tough section competition last year, did that kind of renew your excitement of improving yourself and getting back to state this year? Is that a main goal?
Yeah, my big part of the season this year is state, and then how I do there, and then but sections we have a really good chance of going 1, 2, 3 for the divers.
Mm-hmm. That would be fun.
Yeah.
To sweep those 3 medals for sure. Well, congratulations, Michael, on the record. I'm going to have you slide the mic over.
All right, thank you.
Well, I want to ask Michael.
We have one more for Michael.
Well, how much, and it does pertain to Coach Hartwell. How much of your success do you owe to Coach Hartwell? And I know since he came over and started helping the Otter divers, this program has really taken steps forward. How much of your success do you contribute, or do you take from Coach Hartwell?
I owe a lot of success to him. He's pushed me hard and getting me through. But without weightlifting, too, that's like he said in the interview, the strength training, that's really helps set me apart from other people with Mr. Ratz. Yeah, I have to thank him because otherwise I would have never probably gotten that record.
He's been a huge part of the success of Fergus Athletics from, in any sport that kids are involved in. Coach Ratz has done a wonderful job. Now we can talk to Coach Hartwell.
Well, wait, I have another one. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, free microphone.
That's right. Between Mike and Michael and the mic here, it's kind of confusing to me.
Don't.
Well, Coach Hartwell, you just got to be, proud as can be about what Michael has accomplished, and you've seen him grow from the infancy as a diver all the way to adulthood here.
Yes, I've been privileged to have Michael on board since 7th grade. And, I kind of knew this was coming several years ago, and I knew that at one point, when your body and your brain all catch up, you make that right turn. And that right turn propels you into that new level of athleticism. And that's certainly where Michael's at this year. Back to his level of difficulty, he is now at a level where he should sustain himself in that 250 to 300 scoring level in a 6-dive meet. The DD drives it, but also the fact that Michael can be consistent in the 7 to 8 scoring range makes him pretty potent. So we're pretty excited about that.
How you said you've had Michael, in your tutelage here since 7th grade. How do you convince these kids to take up diving? I mean, it's a scary thing where you're out at the end of the board. That water is not as easy, not as forgiving as it should be. How do you convince kids?
It's interesting. Most people in the community don't realize that we annually, every year, have a new crop of divers that come in, but they don't sustain very long because, to your point, they get out there, it looks easy, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, but then they realize, wow, there's a lot to this. And so we typically go through a few, and then you have your Michael Aasnesses and your Reed Magnusons and your Mike Pistolkas that come along that just really love it, and they're willing to put in the time, and they're willing to put in the crashes and go home sore and whine. But, I just keep telling them, stay with it. This is a sport of doing it over and over and over, and it will eventually become muscle memory. And that's where Michael's at. He spent his time doing 4s, 5s, and 6s on the dive coming out of the pool going, Coach, how do I get to the 7, 8 level? And I kept telling him over and over again, you just wait. Well, this is the waiting that we've been waiting for. It's now coming to fruition, and now he's at that new level. So congratulations. It took time, didn't it?
How much of a challenge is it to you, Mike, to keep challenging him every day now that he's reached that level and to just to have something that he can achieve even higher?
It's actually reverse of that. Michael challenges me. He's the one kid at the end of practice I have to say, we're done with practice, Michael, and he always says to me, just one more, just one more. And so Mike is he's unique. He's highly motivated to be successful in this. But, sometimes with that, you have to pull the reins back a little bit because to our question earlier, it's about safety. The last thing I need is an athlete like Michael going up and trying something and having a significant injury. And in this short season we have, that could be the difference between success and disaster. So sometimes I got to pull him back a little bit and say we have to take this baby step before we can jump to that next level.
Well, how tough is that to add a new wrinkle to maybe do an extra twist or just add something to your current dives? How tough is that to do?
It's really difficult because what a lot of people don't understand is you're dealing with two axes. You have a forward rotational axis and then you have a twisting axis. And most dives start with a forward rotation and then you got to stop it and go into the twist. And that just does not happen naturally. It takes a tremendous amount of balance and strength. And, back to Michael's efforts here, that was not something he could do 2 years ago because he just was not physically able. Now that he's strong enough, stopping that rotation and going to that twist is quite easy for him.
Do you change dives throughout the season, or you just try to improve on the dives you set since the start of the year?
You continue to polish and improve. That's how you hone from a 7 to 7.5 to an 8. And it all comes down to little things like where your hands are placed, where your fingers are reaching a point of stretching. And again, the finish is so important at this level. That's the last thing the judges see as you enter the water, and that's the last thing they remember when they're scoring. So we really focus a lot on those finishes.
Yeah. How big an impact has Michael had on Mike Pistolka and Reed Magnuson as far as the dedication that he has shown in improving?
A tremendous impact. It's always nice as an underclassman to be looking up at somebody that's older than you, learning from them. And I always tell the boys, look at each other, watch each other in diving, because we all learn from each other. And diving is subjective. I mean, there are the mechanics that we judge on, but there's also the style points that come into play. And you just can't teach that. You either have that or you don't. And Michael Aasness has style points. He's got what we call board command. He gets up there. People know that he's there to win. And he also has an ability to get very, very high off that board. And right there, the points start racking up. So I know that Reed and Mike, and we also have 3 7th graders out this year that all take time to stop and watch what Michael's doing, which is very good.
Since you said diving is subjective, how difficult is it to see Michael or any of your divers dive? You know that's a 7 dive, and you get the 6-0 from the East German judge, because that East German judge will get you every time. But when you don't get the scores that you think the divers should have, how tough is that to deal with?
It can be disheartening sometimes, but to be honest with you, it's coach's privilege to usually throw out the lowest score, because we see him every day in practice and know what he should be hitting. And when something is just a little miss in the meet, all the boys know that the lowest score is always going to come from coach. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the legacy that we leave is that a lot of our coaches out there have been watching Michael dive since 7th grade, and so have our officials. And the comments I always receive is, it's unbelievable to see the growth. So they've been watching.
Okay.
So I don't have to always be worried about the East German judge, because they're actually throwing typically higher than I am.
Okay. All right. I just wondered about that. So it's the coaches that judge this. Is that how that works?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's usually 2 coaches and 1 official that are flashing the cards. And then when you get to 11 dive meet, it's 5 judges. So they throw out the top score and the bottom score, so that 3 is the average of the 5.
Well, let me ask Michael that very same question. How difficult is it, or have you had that happen where you know that was a 7 dive and you get a 5-5 on the thing? Is that difficult to take, and how do you deal with that?
It is a little bit, but it's kind of, you just got to take it for what it is and move on to the next dive. But you know how you did inside.
It's kind of like a bad shot in golf. You just have to put it out of your mind and go to the next one. And
yeah, don't throw your clubs. That's probably not a good thing to do. All right.
Well, the other thing, Michael, you mentioned, or Mike, you mentioned the 3 7th graders you have. So here you are, you're working with guys like Michael Aasness, who's at that top rung here, and now you've got new guys coming in, and you're instructing them. How hard is that to transition from one to the other as a coach during practice?
Practice is like a 3-ring circus, let me tell you. But the neat thing I say to my 7th graders, and actually it's twin brothers, the Brinkman boys, and then I have another young man, his last name is Simpson, first name Kane. They're doing great for only being 3 weeks into practice. They have 7 or 8 dives that they're doing. They're doing a lot of dive bombing, but that's good. That's how they learn. But I think the nicest message that I can give the 7th graders is, when they're looking at Michael Aasness and Reed, I say, hey, take a look at those 2 boys. They were just like you in 7th grade. So stay with it, and it will come.
And Mike, do you want to do, or Michael, I say I'm getting all confused here. Michael, do you want to do this at the college level? Is this something you have decided that I can do this at the next level?
Yeah, it's really what I love to do, and I'd really like to do it in college. But my coach, Hartwell dove at the U of M, and I really want to go there. And he said that score that I just recently received is really close to the U of M points that are worthy enough.
Then you must be very excited about that January 5th matchup to go down to that pool and just kind of get the experience of diving in that pool once again.
Yeah, I love that pool. It's a beautiful facility.
How many notes have you left on the diving coach at U of M's door? Just stick them on the door as you're going by. Hey,
phone number.
Would like to dive for you, coach.
Yeah. I went to the U of M camp there, and then I got to work with the coach a lot, and I just fell in love with the U of M as it is. And then I sent out an email to him telling him that I had aspirations to dive there.
Great. That'd be kind of nice, and stay in contact, and maybe you get your dream.
Yeah. Could happen. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Record
setter. The swimmers and divers, they won too. By the way,
they won the Otter Invite.
They won the Otter Invite.
That's a good thing. And then won the duel against Ricori the other night, and it's been fun to see them start like that. Mike, I know I've talked to Tom Hughes a couple of times about that, and you guys have had, as far as swimming goes, personal best times up and down the lineup, it seems, and they're off to a pretty good start, this young group.
Yeah, we're off to a great start. Young team, and it's always exciting to see those time drops. And we're going to take it week by week, and it's all about time spent in the pool. And these young men they'll continue to grow and stay with the sport, and they all will turn that corner at some point too. And we're pretty excited. We got another meet next Tuesday against Sartell, and then we've got a nice break through the holidays to train. So, we're pretty excited.
And you've got a group that doesn't mind training too, and that's fun to see.
All brainwashed. Every one of them.
That's right. Well, they're brainwashed if they get up at 6:30 in the morning on days like today to get to swim. But
well, in a very positive way, put it that way.
Are you training today? You going to the pool here?
Yep.
All right.
We got practice today.
All right. Well, get to it. Thank
Not
you.
even Saturdays off, Coach. Come on. All right. Michael Aasness with the Fergus Falls Otter diving team. Coach Mike Hartwell here as well.